Hi, thank you for watching this. I have been in pastoral ministry since 1980. Whew. When I came on staff as a pastor in training in our church, I was ordained in 81, became senior pastor in 82, and in the last 40 years, I've learned a lot, made plenty of mistakes, and feel like I still have a long way to go. Boy, am I glad God is patient. I don't consider myself an expert on pastoral ministry, but I thought I'd share a few really important life lessons I learned over the years to encourage you. Today I'll share the first few, and then I'll share more in future videos. These lessons are important for pastors, but I also believe they're applicable to everyone. So, here we go. Life lesson number 1. Our example is every bit as important as our words. Philippians 3:17, Paul said, "Brothers, join in imitating me, and keep your eyes on those who walk according to the example you have in us." Paul told his churches to imitate him. People are watching us, our neighbors, relatives, fellow believers, and our children. And as one man said, our kids can smell hypocrisy a mile away. Once at a local deli counter, the man who was fetching my cheese for me said, "Hey, aren't you the pastor at that church on Wayne Avenue?" I'd never seen him before, but thought at the time, this guy knows I'm a pastor. What if I had had a bad attitude, if he sliced my Munster too thick? None of us are perfect, but we should make it our goal to act like Christ wherever we are. Would people want to imitate you in the way you go through hard times? Or how you react when someone blasts you in anger? Or how you act when your plans go awry or your kids disobey? Every day we have countless opportunities to model humility, kindness, gentleness, holiness, thankfulness, to model Jesus for fellow believers and a watching world. And our example is every bit as important as our words. Well, life lesson number 2. God's people want to please him. Ezekiel 36:25 through 27 says, "I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean from all your uncleannesses, and from all your idols I will cleanse you. And I will give you a new heart, and a new spirit I will put within you. And I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh, and give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and be careful to obey my rules." Ezekiel 36:25 through 27. Now this may seem ridiculous, but early on I thought I needed to convince people to obey Jesus against their wills. When I led worship, my unconscious mindset was, these people don't really want to worship Jesus. I have to whip them into it. I'd give exhortations like, "Come on everybody, let's worship Jesus like you really mean it." I had to preach so as to whip them out of their lethargy to serving God. Well, now I think differently. Generally, God's people want to please him. That's why they're there on Sunday. Sure, they get beaten down by life and fall into sin or unbelief at times. They need to be encouraged to lift their eyes to Jesus and trust him. But he's given them new hearts and his spirit. Deep down, they want to please him, obey him, and worship him. Life lesson number 3. Anything good that happens is God's doing. Isaiah 26:12 says, "Lord, you establish peace for us. All that we have accomplished, you have done for us." We are so prone to look at our accomplishments and be proud of ourselves. Look what I did. There's nothing wrong with feeling good about something we've done. After all, when God created the earth, he looked at what he had created each day and saw that it was good. But ultimately, If we do anything good, it's because God has gifted us, helped us, and prospered us. We need to remember that all we have is a gift from God, and we have nothing but what we've received. And in response, try to regularly give Him thanks for all He does for us. Life lesson number 4. In every negative criticism, there's almost always some truth. Even if someone's criticism is completely off, there's almost always something we can learn. James tells us to be quick to listen and slow to speak. Often when someone brings us negative criticism, our first reaction can be to defend ourselves or write them off. Someone's critique may not be 100% correct, but I've always found there's almost always something I need to see or learn from it. Once I was working through some things with an offended brother, and a friend gave me this great advice. Sit down with him and take notes without defending yourself or responding until he shares all that's on his mind. Then, if there's anything to ask forgiveness for, do so. If you're not convicted of sin, tell him you'll seriously consider all he shared and thank him for caring about you enough to meet and talk. And later, after considering what he said, you might respond to some of his points. But listen, every criticism probably has something worthwhile considering. Life lesson number 5. Preach every message to yourself. Pastors, teachers, parents, preach to yourself first. Though I hope my teachings affect others, I want God's Word to teach me and search me first. Never pulpit punch. That is, never try to address a particular individual in the church through your preaching. If you need to talk to someone about something, go to them in private. Sometimes when people say, "Mark, you were preaching directly to me in that message. I felt like we were the only ones in the room." I say, "Thanks for listening. I was preaching to myself." That's so important for us who are teaching others. Life lesson number 6. Disagreement is not disloyalty. Oh, this is so important. Sadly, strong leaders sometimes interpret disagreement as disloyalty. Don't be offended when people question you or disagree with you. Challenging one another can be really healthy. Husbands, if your wife disagrees with you, that doesn't mean she doesn't support you or stand behind you. She's probably trying to help you. Pastors, you don't always have to be right. Recently, a fellow pastor graciously pointed out some areas of weakness in my life. Not because he was being critical or disloyal, but exactly the opposite. Because he cares about me and wants me to focus on things I'm good at. So don't interpret criticism as disloyalty. Another life lesson. Sometimes you have to take the high road. Ooh, this is a hard one. Once I was trying to work through some issues with a brother who I felt had wronged me. He just couldn't see what I wanted him to see. We had a number of conversations and I just couldn't make my point with him. As I shared my frustration with another brother, he said, "Mark, sometimes you just have to take the high road. I think you're wanting something from him that you're not going to get. You should just forgive him, pray for him, then trust the Lord that if he wants him to see something, he'll show it to him." Life-changing advice. The man never did see what I wanted him to see, but I was able to put it in God's hands, and it never bothered me after that. That's a few lessons that I've learned over the years, life lessons, important lessons, and they have so many applications. Thank you for watching this. I hope to do more videos in the near future about more life lessons that the Lord has taught me over the years. So thanks again for watching, and see you next time.